I'm exiting now to New Africa Road. Let me get see if I can find it right. There we go. This is the New Africa Road in Clarksdale, Mississippi. When I get up here, I will be stopping. There's really not like anything here, but I just want to talk about how and why it has the name New Africa. See you soon. This is New Africa Road today here in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Look at that. They have a Hampton Inn. They have a couple of restaurants, whatever. But I'm here to talk about why it's got its name. And actually, I'm pulling up to a McDonald's just to park and get out and see some things to talk about it, you know? We're going to talk about how New Africa Road in Clarksdale, Mississippi got its name. Just come down from Mound the Bayou, Mississippi. I'm here home. Took me a couple of days. Vacation, I guess. Yeah, I did. Not on, I guess. And while I was here in Mississippi, I said I wanted to record this. This is New Africa Road 2025. Well, the street got its name from a rebellion. And I want everybody to know, and there's something we focus on people that didn't fight more than anything. We like to call them weak. We call them everything. And I ain't going to say I haven't been a part of it. I have. Oh, and by the way, once again, thank y'all for tuning in to BBN, Black Business Network. I'm your host, Brother Bakari, your good brother. So, but the street got its name through a rebellion. We had some rebellious, enslaved Africans who did not want to be enslaved anymore. So they fought during slavery and created them a free society. Now you can imagine back in the 1800s, right? That it was just all woods here. Just think about it. The 1800s, it was all woods here. And they were able to create them a free society in this area, out in the woods. You know, you had slave catchers. They come to recapture, I guess, and enslave the people that fought their way to freedom, but they could not. So the white people, they defeated them who wanted to recapture them. They defeated the Native Americans who was working with the white people who wanted to defeat them. And I just wanted to come to the road and record while I'm here. I've talked about it before, but I wanted to see the area today. Yeah, of course, it's nothing special, but the history behind this and the history behind that rebellion is one of the rebellions that I have never heard people talk about. So I decided that I'm going to talk about it. And so that's what I decided to do. So once again, this is New Africa Road, Clarksdale, Mississippi, the home of rebellious, the home of rebellious enslaved Africans that freed themselves in the midst of slavery and created a free society. Peace and one love. This brother right here, I ain't gonna put you on there if you don't want to be on camera. This brother right here I'm talking to right now say he grew up on New Africa Road, and I was asking him, did he know the history of it? And he said no. And in this town of Clarksdale, it should be told. New Africa got its name by, it was a slave rebellion. We know Nat Turner, we know the Stono Rebellion, right? Right. But since they want to keep Mississippi in such a bad light all the time, they don't want to talk about what happened. it was some enslaved Africans that rebelled and actually freed themselves. Right. They defeated the white slave catchers. They defeated the Native American slave catchers. And they came to this area right now that's New Africa Road and built them a free society in the midst of slavery and named it New Africa. So when Clarksdale encompassed New Africa, they just named it New Africa Road without giving the history. Because if we know the history of what our ancestors did back then, do you understand the pride that would instill in us today? If we could do it then, what can we do in 2025? But that's the history. I drove here. I live in Atlanta, but I'm from Mississippi, from up around Greenville. And I drove here today. I stopped in Mount Bayou, talked their history, and I stopped here. And I drove up here because this is a history that need to be known, need to be talked about. We can talk about rebellions in South Carolina. We can talk about that. And I'm not knocking any of them. I'm not saying we shouldn't. We can talk about all the rebellions, and we can talk about the free societies. So why they don't talk about the slave rebellion doing here in Mississippi?
New Africa Road.
New Africa Road. And guess who named it New Africa Road? The people that freed themselves and built it. Slavery was still going on. And they said, no white people, no Native Americans. They came in and tried to catch them, and they kicked everybody's ass. And they named it New Africa. Clarksdale named it New Africa Road, but that was a society just what. If you look at some old Union, old Union maps, old Union registers, you will see New Africa on there. And they say during the Civil War, the Union military was told, don't go in the woods in New Africa because you can't defeat them in the woods. So they was told instead, those were some bad brothers and sisters. But
I grew up down there. We were some bad brothers.
So you were descendants of the bad brothers and sisters.
Don't cross that out.
That's the same. I'm telling you, that's the history. What's your name, my brother? Leon, nice to meet you. I'm Bakari, man.
I grew up way down there, though. I grew up off New Africa and Harry Black.
Yeah, always. Yeah, I know exactly. So, because I just came down through Harry Black. So when you my channel, I have a YouTube channel. This is small, but this is what I talk about. But my channel is BBN, Black Business Network. BBN, Black Business Network.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Okay, and you look it up, put it out, because I'm going to put this on my channel. But this is what I talk about. I talk about black business, black people coming together, and I like to show the things that we have done, so it can inspire us to do them again. You understand? BBN.
I'm gonna look you up.
Thank you for talking to me. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop recording now, and I'll show you.
Appreciate
But look, man, thank y'all for tuning in to BBN Black Business Network. Once again, this is y'all brother Bakari. Peace out.